Hello everyone, welcome to the first paper of electronics, that is semiconductor devices and basic electronic systems. This is the part first of chapter second, bipolar junction transistor, that is BJT. And in this video we are going to learn what is BJT, its types and construction and working of the BJT. So the semiconductor devices like diode cannot amplify a signal, therefore its application area is very limited. So the next logical step in the development of semiconductor devices after diode is a bipolar junction transistor, that is nothing but the BJT, or simply a transistor. Transistor is a three-terminal device. The terminals are collector, emitter and base, out of which base is a control terminal. A signal of a small amplitude applied to the base is magnified or amplified at the collector terminal of the transistor. This is the amplification provided by a BJT. Thus, a large power signal is obtained from a small power signal. The additional power required for this operation is obtained from an external source of the DC power. So here are the advantages of transistor. So it is a small size, lightweight and ruggedness. Do not require any filament power for the amplification, then operate at a very low voltage, higher efficiency and a long life. Why it is called as a transistor? The term transistor was derived from the word transfer and resistor. This term was adopted because it best describes the operation of a transistor, which is the transfer of an input signal current from low resistance circuit to a high resistance circuit. Why is it called as a bipolar transistor? The conduction in a bipolar junction transistor takes place due to the both electrons and holes. That is why it is called as a bipolar transistor. If the conduction takes place due to only one type of carriers, that is majority charge carriers, then the transistor is called as a unipolar transistor. For example, field effect transistor, that is nothing but the FET. So here the BJT symbol and types. So the transistor is a three-layered semiconductor device consisting of either two N-type and one P-type layers of a materials, or two P-type and one N-type layers of a materials. The former is called an NPN transistor, while the latter is called a PNP transistor. So there are two types of a bipolar junction transistor, that is PNP transistor and NPN transistor. So here this is the NPN transistor, where two N-type material and one P-type material is used to construct this NPN transistor. So here is the symbol for NPN transistor. Here are the three terminals, that is base, collector and emitter. So this arrowhead, this indicates the flow of conventional current. Now here is the PNP transistor, where two P-type material and one N-type material is used to construct this PNP transistor. Here is the symbol for PNP transistor, and here again it has a three terminals, emitter, base, collector, and this arrowhead will indicate the conventional current flow. What is the difference between this NPN and PNP transistor? So the difference between the PNP and NPN transistor is that the arrow mark at the emitter end, if you have noticed, the arrow in the PNP transistor is mentioned as moving from the emitter to the base, whereas in the NPN transistor, the arrow will be moving from the base to the emitter. So the direction of the arrow represents the direction of current flow in the transistor. In PNP, the current will be flowing from emitter to base. Similarly, in the NPN transistor, the current will be flowing from the base to the emitter. So here it will show the current direction. So here is the NPN transistor. When at the input we are applying 1, then the current flow from this base to emitter and this LED will turn on. And if we have put the 0 at the input, then no current will be flow. That means transistor is off, and therefore this LED is off. Now for this PNP, the operation is exactly opposite. If we apply 0 at the input, the current flows from this emitter to base and this LED will turn on. And if we apply 1 at the input of this PNP, then no current flow through this transistor, that means it is off, and this LED is turned off. Naming of transistor terminals. The transistor has three sections of a doped semiconductor. The section one side is called emitter and the opposite side is called as the collector, and the middle section is called base. So here the NP and PNP transistors are given. These are the real appearance of these transistors. It has three terminals, collector, base, emitter, and these are the pin numbers of this transistor. 1 is a collector, 2 is base, and 3 is a emitter. So these are the terminals of the transistor. Emitter. The section of one side that supplies carriers is called emitter. An emitter is always forward biased with respect to base, so it can supply the carriers. For NPN transistor, emitter supply holes to its junction, and for PNP transistor, emitter supply electrons to its junction. The second terminal is collector. The section on the other side that collects the carrier is called collector, and the collector is always reverse biased with respect to base. For NPN transistor, collector receives holes at its junction, and for PNP transistor, collector receives electrons to its junction. Base. The middle section which forms 2p-n junction between the emitter and collector is called a base. Now, the construction of the NPN and PNP transistor. So here, for NPN, the p-type material is sandwiched between these two n-type materials, and it forms the two junctions. So this junction between this emitter and base is called as a emitter junction, and the junction between this base and collector is called as a collector junction. Similarly, for PNP, here one n-type material is sandwiched between the two p-type materials, and it forms two junctions. So the junction between emitter base is called as emitter junction, and junction between this base and collector is called as a collector junction. So a transistor is consist of a two p-n junctions formed by sandwiching either p-type or a n-type semiconductor between a pair of opposite types. Hence, it produces two types of transistors, that is NPN transistor and a PNP transistor, and the base is much thinner than other two regions. So emitter is slightly more heavily doped than collector, so it can inject a larger amount of carriers into the base, and base is lightly doped, so it can pass most of the carriers to the collector, and collector is moderately doped. So the junction between this emitter and base is called emitter base junction, and junction between base and collector is called collector base junction. And if you notice that the area of this emitter, as this emitter is heavily doped, but area and this collector is slightly or it is moderately doped, but the area of this collector is slightly or precisely slightly larger than this emitter, because it is used to collect the electrons in NPN, and this collector region in PNP is used to collect holes from the base. So the construction can simply be explained with a two diode analogy for a transistor as shown in image. So consider the two diodes connected with each other using the cathode. Then the meeting point can be extended to form the base terminal, and the two anodes end acts as the collector and emitter of a PNP transistor. So here, if we connect these two diodes, so we can form the PNP transistor. So the cathodes connected to each other, and the common point is called as a base, and the two anodes of these two diodes, they are treated as a emitter and a collector. Similarly, if you connect the anode ends of the diode, then the meeting point of the anodes can be extended to form the base terminal, and two cathode ends acts as the collector and emitter of the NPN transistor. So here, if you connect two diodes back to back, so here the common terminal between these anodes is treated as a base terminal, and these two cathodes terminals, they are treated as an emitter and a collector terminals for the NPN transistor. An unbiased transistor. A transistor with no external power supplies connected to it is called as an unbiased transistor. So we have already discussed the formation of a depletion region in an unbiased PN junction or a PN junction diode. As a transistor consists of a two PN junctions, so we apply the same concept over here as well. So here are the NPN and PNP transistors with unbiased condition. So here depletion region is formed for both NPN and PNP transistor if we unbiased these transistors. Now the transistor biasing. The two junctions in a BJT must be biased properly in order to operate it as an amplifier. So here after the biasing we can operate this transistor in the regions. A BJT is capable of operating in 4 different regions depending on the way in which it is its two junctions are biased, and the regions of operation are: first is the cutoff region, that means transistor is off; saturation region, transistor is fully on; and third one is the forward active region in between saturation and cutoff. Or we can say that in this forward active region we can use the transistor as an amplifier, and the fourth region is the inverse active region. So here are the modes are given. So for cutoff region, the emitter base junction must be reverse biased, and for collector base junction must be reverse biased to operate the transistor in a cutoff region or a cutoff mode. And for saturation, emitter base junction must be forward biased and collector base junction must be forward biased. So both junctions for cutoff they are reverse biased, and both junctions for saturation they must be forward biased. So in these two regions we can operate the transistor as a switch. Then to operate transistor in a active region, emitter base junction must be forward biased and collector base junction must be reverse biased. So we can operate the transistor as an amplifier in this region. If we bias the transistor in active region so as to operate as an amplifier. So here the figure below shows the conventional directions of the IC, that is collector current, IB is the base current, and IE as an emitter current, plus the polarities of voltages, that is input voltage, that is VBE, that is base emitter voltage, and the output voltage, that is VCE, collector emitter voltage. So here the NPN transistor is given and the conventional directions. So this is the collector. So the current flowing through this collector terminal is called as a collector current, that is IC. Here the current flowing through the base terminal is called as IB, and the current flowing through this emitter terminal is treated as a IE, that is emitter current. So here the voltage between base and emitter terminal is input voltage, that is called as a VBE, and this is the polarities of this input voltage VBE, and the voltage, the output voltage we have measured at the collector terminal. So here the output voltage is VCE. With respect to, we have measured this collector voltage with respect to emitter, and that's why this is called as a VCE. And working of NPN transistor. So here forward bias is applied to the emitter base junction. So here we are applied the forward bias, that is N type is connected to negative and this positive base is connected to positive terminal of the source. So here forward bias is applied to the emitter base junction and reverse bias is applied to the collector base junction. That means this N type terminal is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and this base, that is positive terminal, is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So in this way we have applied the forward bias to the emitter base junction and reverse bias to the collector base junction. So the forward bias in the emitter base junction causes electrons to move towards the base. That means this negative terminal of source will repel or forces these electrons to move towards the base junction. So this constitutes the emitter current IE. So as these electrons flow towards the p-type base, they try to recombine with the holes. As this p-type material or this p-type this material has the very small number of holes are present. So the free electrons, they are trying to recombine with the holes available in this p type. But as this base is lightly doped, only few electrons recombine with the available holes within the base, and the these recombined electrons will constitute the small base current, that is IB. So that base current flows through this base terminal, that is treated as a IB, and the remaining electrons that crosses the base collector junction and constitute the collector current. That means the remaining electrons which don't have a holes to recombine, so they enter into the collector region and constitute the collector current, that is called as a IC. So here we can say that the emitter current IE is nothing but the sum of the base current IB and the collector current IC. Now, the working of a PNP transistor. So here again the forward bias is applied to the emitter base junction and the reverse bias is applied to collector base junction. Now here this is the P type, so it is connected to positive terminal of the source, and this base is N type, so it is connected to negative terminal of the source. That means we have applied the forward bias, and for this base collector junction the reverse bias is applied. So that means this N type base is connected to positive terminal of source and this P type collector is connected to negative terminal of the source. So the forward bias in the emitter base junction causes holes to move towards the base. So this constitutes the emitter current IE. As these holes flow towards N-type base, they try to recombine with the electrons which are available. So as base is lightly doped, only few electrons or very few holes, they recombine with the electrons within the base, and this constitute the small base current, that is IB. Now here the base, that current that always flows from, or the current always flows from the positive to negative, so that's why the direction of base current is opposite. The remaining holes crosses the base collector junction and enter into the collector region and constitute the collector current, that is IC. And so we can say that the emitter current is again the sum of current IB and IC. So this means that emitter current is always equal to the sum of collector current and base current. As IB is very small compared to IE, so we can assume the collector current to be nearly equal to the emitter current. That means we can say that IE is approximately equal to the IC. So here are the different questions, different types of questions based on this topic I have mentioned over here. Try to solve the questions.